Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode number 10, Business Builder, where we talk about building, scaling a successful business. Still have my partner, John Galan, joining with me today. Hi, John.
What's going on, Helena?
Hey, so today we have a great guest. He's like one of those gurus in wholesale industry. He's one of the first few people we learn from. And, still nowadays we ask him questions all the time and he helps us with building our own business. So Brent Daniels, welcome to the pod.
I am excited. Episode number 10. Let's go. This is incredible. Great to see you guys. I'm so happy that you guys are getting loud and sharing your knowledge and interviewing incredible minds. It really just helps everybody out there to kind of skip to the front of the line, or an analogy I really like is you can walk 80 floors to the top of a building, or you can take the elevator. And I think what you guys do here is really elevate people and give them the instruction and the confidence. And what we were talking about, John, before we even started this, the environment. You know what I mean? When people are listening to this in their car, all of a sudden they're transformed. They're put into a new place where there's a lot of positivity and a lot of really good real life situations and examples that really help us to go a lot faster as a business person and not make as many mistakes. So you guys are awesome.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, appreciate you, and 100% agree. I mean, like just listening to some mistakes we've made or people that we've interviewed made, it could really just help you kind of just exponentially grow. You know what I mean? Like steep learning curve, and that's why I like reading books. Like that's like 10 years of somebody's life, and experience into those pages. So yeah, education is really on the top of I think all of our lists. So I appreciate the wise words and the kind words.
And also for us, like building out the company where we are, we made so many mistakes in terms of like not having SOP before hiring, not having a clear KPI sheet when, like building out a new team, and not having those one-on-one daily huddles, etc. We wish there was someone telling us, hey, this is the right way of doing business, scaling, building a team, scaling business. That's why we want to have this business builder podcast where we can share those advice so people can have some shortcut and make less mistakes along the way.
Oh yeah. So, Brent, we just discussed like one of the big things that we were struggling with when we started was, kind of hiring and not really knowing who to hire, hiring a lot of the wrong people or right people, wrong seat. So what kind of advice do you have for hiring since now it's kind of like, I feel like the day-to-day is fully operational without you having to be involved.
Yeah. Well, listen, in the beginning, you have to hunt. As a business owner, you got to hunt for opportunities. You got to hunt for sales. You got to hunt for the ability to provide value to the marketplace. So we're in this like tornado where every single day we're out there trying to find, the new customer, the new situation, and the new opportunity. And so we're really stuck in that, and we get really good at that. And that's where we need to start. That we need to be able to bring some income into the business before we can start having the financial responsibility of other people in our hands. So it's that really tough transition where we have to really like get our own cup overflowing with opportunities before we can bring people on comfortably and respectfully and know that they can succeed in our business environment and what we're looking to do. Right. And so it's tough, especially in the real estate business, as you're starting to build momentum, to know when you should hire and who to hire first. But what I would say is, if you're not at that place where you're overwhelmed by income, where your income isn't just absolutely going through the roof, don't worry about hiring, right? You're not responsible enough to hire. You don't have enough leadership skills to hire anybody. You don't have enough business experience to hire anybody. So don't think that you're just an entrepreneur because, you put it on your Instagram profile, right? You're an entrepreneur once you actually start bringing in profits and you start getting predictable income coming in. And from there, that's when you start going out and reaching out to people and providing them opportunities. And truly, it's one of those things, right, John and Helena, when you have an unbelievable business that is bringing in income, people want to be a part of that. It shouldn't be you out chasing talent. You should be a magnet for talent coming in. And so I think a lot of people, in the last 10 years, they go to VAs too quick. They try to replace themselves too quick. Some people set up business, or they've been hoodwinked into thinking that you could just get a business in a box and then here you go and everybody's going to do all the work for you and you just get passive income. It does not happen. Don't be naive. I'm telling you right now, it does not happen. You have to go through the fire. You have to get in. You got to chop the wood, carry the water for a long time before you can hire people, and a lot longer than you think. But once you get to that place where you've earned it, it's going to be sustainable. And that's what's so important about business.
I see so many people and start off, they're like, hey, so I just got my VA set up. They're starting to call. I'm like, have you done a deal yet? They're like, no, I haven't done a deal. I'm like, then why are you having a VA do it? You don't know how to train them. They're going to have more experience than you. So how are you supposed to train people if they know more than you do? So yeah, I mean, right. I tell people to just do, like, I think I heard it from you or Sean Terry, where it was like, get 3 months consistently of 30K a month.
That's it.
At least.
That was Sean Terry. Yeah.
Sean Terry. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think there are two groups of people. One is the people who hire too early. They want to delegate everything. They don't want to do hard work. They want to have that shortcut. Another kind of people who are business owner, they are so in deep of the business. They are too frugal to hire someone. Well, they're so scared. What if it doesn't work out? I wasted my money. So those are the people who are, they're doing deals, but they don't have the mindset to scale it to become the business owner. They're always the employee of their own business.
Yeah. Well, listen, it goes back, and we'll talk about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but it goes back to the cash flow quadrant, right? Employee, self-employed, they're on the left side of the quadrant. And then you got a business owner and investor on the right side. The left side, time is attached to your income. Your time is attached to the income, right? You don't have the system set up. You don't have other people running it. It's not a passive investment that's just kicking off funds for you or income for you. So you're in that. And Helena, what I see is people fall in love with being self-employed. People find value in themselves being self-employed. People say to themselves, nobody could do it better. I am unbelievably experienced at this. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to stay in this spot. And you know what? That's fine. That's not what I want with my life, but that's what some people get incredible value from. So they should stay in that. If you want to be Michael Jordan on the court forever, fine. I'd rather be in the owner's box. You know what I mean? And so there's a difference there. And people, listen, idle hands do the devil's work. And people think that if they have too much time in their hands, they're just going to go crazy, or they're going to spend too much money, or they're going to make terrible decisions. So that's why they stay on the left side of the quadrant, because that's where they feel the most comfortable and that's where they get the most value. So you have to just determine, as a business owner, are you self-employed? Or are you going to be an actual business owner and create the systems to replace yourself? And that's a big decision. And that's a really hard decision, especially if you're a real estate agent, or you come from the mortgage or insurance business, or anywhere where there's like a very specific niche speciality that you have. It's very difficult to give that up because it's part of your own personality.
Like it's your identity, what value you bring to the table.
Identity, even better. Perfect.
Yeah.
Helena, you're the best.
It actually, it was my personal journey as well, because initially it's like a heroic feeling. I'm like handling all the mess in the chaotic environment, and I'm here making all the things happen, and kind of like getting addicted to being super busy and hectic, because that's at the end of the day, I feel like, okay, I've done this much, so busy, I've accomplished a great day. But along the time, if you analyze those daily inventory, which is, your daily activity inventories, activity logs, you will notice it's not aligning to your long-term goal. All those are just important. They are urgent but not important tasks, which is not moving the needle for your business. So being able to delegate and then look for new things that is higher dollar activity to better use your time is a mindset shift, because a lot of people, they are just comfortable with staying busy. It doesn't require extra brain work to look for something even harder. They just get used to what they are good at already. They're in their comfort zone. Yeah, they are busy, but that's their comfort zone. And they get addicted to being busy, and for just the sake of being busy.
And most people don't even realize, like, once they start a business, they're like, yeah, I own a business. Like, no, you don't. You have a high paying job. Basically, you're working for yourself. You don't have a business yet. You don't have a business until you have people that are working for you, and you don't have to be in the day-to-day. Because if you stop working, it stops. So that's
Yep.
not a business. A business keeps running whether you're working or not. So a lot of people don't make that distinction until it's kind of like they're really in deep on their business and they start trying to build at that point.
Well, and a lot of the times the business owns you. And
Yeah.
so, you're a steward of it. It's not a steward of you. It's interesting. It reminds me of, so my office building here, there was a young guy. He looked like he was homeless. He was just laying out in the front of my building. And I was like, hey, you need some water. Can I help you out? Can I call somebody for you? And he goes, no, I'm fine. I go, well, listen, this is a place of business. I own this building. You can't be in front of here. You know what I mean? I've got customers coming in. I got students coming in. And I can't have you just laying out in front of my office. And he goes, well, do you own it or does it own you? Which is like an existential conversation, right? It's like, oh,
So
okay,
funny.
wait a second. You know what I mean? Like, in a way, the building does own me in a sense, right? Because I have to pay for it. I have to keep it up. It's an asset. But a lot of people's business is like that. You know what I mean? The moment that I move out of this building and I rent it to somebody else and it's managed by somebody else, it's not owned. It doesn't own me anymore. You know what I mean? But that's something to think about when, it came from the most unlikely of sources. I mean, he's definitely a drug enthusiast in the front of my building that's been laying there for God knows how long, is giving me this philosophical, conversation. But it's something that we have to look at. Does your business own you? And do you like that? I've seen a lot of restaurant owners, landscaping businesses, pest control, people that own like supplement shops. They love it. People walk in and they're the personality and they're loving their customer. They love that the job owns them. They love it.
Yeah.
You just have to decide, do you want to build something like the E-Myth where it's systems, right? The book, The E-Myth, really lays it out where you put together all of the systems and basically it's just flipping a switch and your business is running and it does it without you.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by your time is not attached to your income. And so that's what I've done with my real estate business. I mean, I spend about 5 hours a week in it. And the rest of the time it's run by incredible people that do a much better job at each one of the roles than I ever did.
Yeah, definitely want to dive more into how you spend that 5 valuable hours and what kind of like support or critical team members you have. But before that, I do want to mention that you mentioned like the right way of hiring is being the magnet, being so profitable, being so good, so you attract talents. But I think a prerequisite of that is you need to be first of all really loud. Secondarily, build a branding for yourself and your company so people can come to you. If you are really good but nobody knows about you and you don't have a good branding, a good association between your company and what other people are looking for, it's hard to attract talents that way. So any advice from you in terms of how to like build that branding out there, get the name out there?
Yeah, I love it. It's like, what's the waiting list to get into Yale University? You know what I mean? Like anybody can get into Arizona State. Anybody, literally anybody, right? But that's their brand. Their brand is, hey, you can come here, you'll get accepted, and we'll educate you. But Yale, you have to go through this whole process, and you have to be somebody special, and there's a waiting list, and all these things, right? Like, how do you make your business the Yale and not the Arizona State? If that's what you want to do, if you want to be that type, if you want that type of brand. And one, it's being very, like you were saying, being very loud and excited and enthusiastic about this business. Like your enthusiasm level for your business should be at an 8 minimum every single day. Because if it's not, what are you doing? You're just going out every single day and not having enthusiasm, hating your life, hating your job, hating your business, hating what's going on a daily basis, and just making yourself miserable for what? For freedom? That's not freedom. You're stuck in that thing, right? So one, you got to be really enthusiastic and you got to just fall in love with it. And it doesn't have to be your passion. It doesn't have to be the thing that you always wanted to do growing up in this, but where can you serve the marketplace and can you be profitable? And if you can be profitable, and you can have enthusiasm and you can be loud, you're going to find incredible talent that wants to be around that because most businesses aren't. It's not hard to stand out if you have those things.
Yeah. And like when you have people on an interview, like if you're loud and they know that your company, actually is serious and does business well. But if they're on like 9 other interviews, a lot of the times, they're trying to see if this company is even worth it for them. But for yours, they're coming into like, I know I want to work for this company because I already know that this company has what I want. So now they're trying to sell themselves to you even more than you trying to sell your company to a rock star candidate.
Yeah, and I always hire people that already have jobs. I never hire somebody that's looking for a job necessarily. You know what I mean? Because they don't have one. I only hire people that are already hired and they're looking for another opportunity or a different opportunity or a more exciting opportunity or an opportunity to make, not have a cap on their income because they can go out and find really great deals and get really great commissions.
So
So
how
let's
do you find those people? Like, because we are thinking about that too. We want to kind of like approach people who are working in a role already, have that proven success. But sounds like we need a headhunter or like talent acquisition person to do that. How do you find those people?
and what do you look for in them?
It depends on the role. I
Let's
say,
say, let's say sales role. That's the most
well,
critical
listen,
part.
let me explain this to everybody. And this is something that Tony Robbins has said for 30 years. Okay. And I didn't really understand it until probably 10 years ago. Salespeople are born, they're not made. I'm just telling you right now, you cannot develop somebody to be a superstar salesperson. They either already have to have the raw ingredients or you're going to completely waste your time. Now, you can make a good salesperson great. You can't make somebody that has no sales skills into somebody that can be in the sales role. So number one, there is something innate about it. I will tell you that. And so you look for people that have been in sales, have been successful in sales, and have a good motor, right? Somebody that has good high capacity, and they understand that at any time they can jump on the phone, get into a conversation, and make friends. I'll give you an example. My two guys, we went to Mexico because we hit our goal. And so I use credit card points. I use the credit card for all of our marketing, right? And all of our expenses. And so we get credit card points. So we had $56,000 in credit card points. So we flew first class, all inclusive, Playa del Carmen, right outside of Tulum, right between Tulum and Cancun. Beautiful sandy beaches, just phenomenal. All expenses paid for by credit card points. So there's a little tip for everybody there. My two acquisition managers, Chad and Ryan, are having a contest who can say hi to the most people at this resort. They're literally walking around topless, seeing who could say hi to the most amount of people and get into. Ryan's playing volleyball with his wife and like 14 other couples. Chad's in the jacuzzi with his wife and 3 other couples. It's like, you know what I mean? That's the personality you need for sales. You need somebody that is just innately great at communicating, and they're not real insecure. They're just going to go out there and they're just going to talk to people. They're just naturally very, very conversational, right? And so that's who you're looking at. They're expressive personalities. If you're looking at the personality test, expressive personalities that have the capacity. And I like people that have done door-to-door sales, have done pest sales, have done solar sales, have done real estate before, those type of things, insurance. So I look for sales-specific industries to recruit from.
I also heard from you that you like to also hire people from law enforcement.
Oh, yeah.
Can you touch more on that?
I mean, listen, if you get a nurse or somebody that was in law enforcement, they're going to be phenomenal because they've seen people in their absolute worst, and they have huge emotional IQ. And so if you can get a former police officer that has a good personality and loves talking to people and solving problems, oh my gosh. I mean, Ryan Thornton, my acquisition manager, he was a Scottsdale police officer for 12 years. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he can talk to anybody. And listen, some of these situations we go into in real estate, especially wholesalers, where these are really, it's an inherited situation and it's ugly. It's a hoarder house. It is a fire damaged house. It's a house that was a drug den or whatever else, a trap house, as some people call it. You need to be able to communicate effectively with people that are in prison. You got to communicate effectively with people that, haven't made the best decisions in life, and be able to explain the process for them. And so it's a huge advantage.
So how do you locate those people? Like both people have law enforcement background and people who are currently employed. Like how do you find those people and approach them?
I mean, you could go on LinkedIn. You could post to your socials all the time. Hi, I am looking for somebody that is getting out of law enforcement and is excited about real estate. You know what I mean? You don't have
We
to
don't have too many followers for that.
Huh?
We don't have too many law enforcement followers or people who are watching us.
But it's not the followers. It's not the specific person. It's the people that know that person.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the cousin. It's the friend. It's the neighbor. It's the college roommate. It's that. It's the connections that other people have because you're being loud and you're building up an audience that all of a sudden, if you ask for something specific, you'll be surprised. And it's not just asking once, right? Ask 10 times. Ask every day for a month.
Yeah. And in New York, everybody's got a cousin that's a cop.
Really? No way.
Pretty much. Yeah.
How many cops are in New York? Like 1 million?
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah, that's wild. So another thing about hiring salespeople, maybe it's a little bit more controversial, but I feel like where that person is in his or her stage of life is also really important because some people, let's say if we hire a law enforcement people have like a 20 years experience, but they're at their 40, 50, they have like all set for their retirement. They are not as hungry as someone just out of the college wants to make as much money as possible. So how do you balance someone who is so experienced, but maybe at a different stage in life compared to someone who is less experienced, but have that hunger and eager to learn?
Well, people can fake hunger, right? The young guy can fake hunger, and the retired police officer can be like, yeah, I'm good. I've got a pension, but I want to do more. And so you're not going to understand the hunger until the first 90 days, the first 6 months of working with them, throwing them into the fire, seeing how they react. And if they don't react, then you made a mistake, right? Or react the way that you're hoping for, in a real positive and proactive way. And then you adjust, right? It's not the right fit and you move on. So people can really, that's one of the trickiest ones is how hungry are they? Because you could have people that, they've got so many expenses. They gotta make $200,000 a year or they are underwater. Right. And so, yeah, the best sales guys I have, they're pretty ridiculous with money. They love spending it as fast as they get. And that keeps them hungry.
That's great.
So
they love when their backs against the wall.
Hunger's a tough one, Helena. You're not going to know that until you put them in front of your customers, until you get them into a routine, until you let them know the expectations and see how they perform. Yeah.
So now that you have like all these killer salespeople and everything, how did you get to the point where you started to build a team to where now you're working those 5 hours a week?
Yeah, it's step by step. So I was always really good on appointments with the property owners doing acquisition. I was terrible at selling the deals because the cash buyers because I was just too nice. They would be like, hey, can I get a couple grand off here? And I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's just get it closed. And then they would sell it to somebody else. They would wholesale it to somebody else and make
more than you probably.
Of course. And I was like, okay, I need somebody that has a little bit more backbone, a little bit more analytical, a little bit more logical left brain than right brain, emotional and creative. I'm way more right brain. And so I need somebody that's more analytical. And that's what I found. So I wanted to find somebody that would sell the deals first. And then I was hunting. I was making calls every single day, 9 to noon, to new property owners to see if they would consider an offer on their properties. And I wanted more. I wanted more help with that. So I started hiring Americans that lived in the Philippines to make some calls. And then I found a really great company that had Americans living in Costa Rica to make the calls. It was a little bit better of a time zone change, which was good. And so it worked out. And so I started getting some supplement with really good phone prospectors and just putting in my energies to lead generation, because that is the engine of your business. Any business is lead generation. And so I just had people helping me make the calls while I was still in the saddle until I could replace myself with marketing. And then I started to do some direct mail in 2016. So 2012, I discovered what wholesaling was. And 2013, I did my first deal. And then 3 years just going and going and going and keeping as much money as possible. And then 3 years later, I started really replacing myself in the certain roles once the lead pipeline was big enough and the income was coming in. I felt comfortable hiring some people because I made huge mistakes in my 20s, guys. I had a real estate brokerage. I had 9,000 square feet of office space. I had 45 real estate agents. I had 10 door knockers. I had a couple people that were putting together creative finance deals, and it all disappeared when the tide went out in 2008, 2009. And so I really understood and respected what it meant when you hire somebody, what having the financial responsibility of their family and themselves in your hands. And so I really wanted to make sure that it was really well established and I had a really good pipeline of leads before I brought anybody on. But Dispo was the first, and then I started bringing in more people for lead generation, and then I replaced myself in acquisitions.
How important was it to have like that good foundation as far as like systems and processes and written documentation out for when you were building up your team? Because one of the mistakes that
I didn't really
we
have
made,
it,
we had
John.
nothing.
I didn't have written documentation until I bought into Joe Homebuyer. So Joe Homebuyer is a franchise out of Utah. Incredible guys. Mark Stubler and Cody Hoffine are they started it. And in 2019, I was teaching a lot, coaching a lot, doing a lot of YouTube, doing a lot of podcasts. And I could see that my eye wasn't on the real estate business as much as it should. And I needed those systems in place. Because I was there to kind of put together duct tape it all together at times, right? Keep the ship running. But I needed the systems and processes. And that's why I bought into the franchise. And I thought it would be a good long-term asset to buy because there's only a certain amount that they'll have in each market. And I thought they do well in expanding. And so that's when that came into I'm not that personality. I'm not the personality that's going to be putting together everything written. And I'm a sales guy. I'm a go out and find deals. I'm a hustle bro, at my core, so to speak, and that really helped me. That really helped me to get the discipline that I needed to take it to the next level. And then we've doubled and tripled our income.
So one of the biggest benefits from buying into a franchise was the kind of the systems and blueprint that they had in place as far as the SOPs.
Yeah. And also there's something to be said about the environment. There's something to be said about every single week getting together with, I think it's 50 or 60 different companies around the country and sharing results. Franchises, not companies. I mean, different franchises around the country. And so that really helps Jackie, who is my operations manager, understand what we're looking at, understand trends, understand, maybe we should try this marketing technique and this is the way that we can implement it into the business. So I just she's on those meetings. She's in that group. She's a leader in it. She loves it. And she's really taken ownership of her role. And so, that's helped me to stay organized and disciplined for sure.
So go ahead, John.
I was going to say that makes a lot of sense. And now speaking of those 5 hours a week that you do, now that you've delegated a lot, right? You have the systems in place with the franchise. You're spending those 5 hours are probably very valuable, high dollar tasks. So like, what are you spending those 5 hours a week on the business on?
Yeah. Scoreboard. EOS, right? If you read the, what is that? Gino Wickman.
Traction.
Yeah. You need a scoreboard that you look at. And we look at it, technically we look at it 3 times a week, but really with just the team 2 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we look at what deals are hot, what leads are hot that we're looking to get under contract that week, what properties we have under contract that we haven't sold, and what properties we have under contract that we have sold. And how does that match up to our goals? So everything is judged against the goals that we all put together as a company at the end of the previous year. And we look at, okay, where are we at in relation to those goals, and what do we need to do to pick it up? Do we need to spend more on marketing? Or is my acquisition team overwhelmed, or do they have more capacity? Is my disposition team same? Are they overwhelmed, or do they need more deals to sell? And so we're just taking the temperature twice a week to make sure that the business is hitting the goals that we've put in front of us. Because listen, you could set a year goal, and if you don't look at it on a weekly basis, all of a sudden it turns fake. It doesn't feel real. You need the reps, right? You need to see it all the time. The more that you see it, the more you're like, okay, I can't pull back when I get a huge deal because we have so much more to accomplish. Or if a deal falls out, holy cow, guys, we need to really, really make up for that this week. So what do we have that we can really focus on and put under contract this week that we can sell? And so it's that focused.
Got it. So you're more focused on seeing how you guys are stacking up to where you want to end up, the goal, and making sure that you're staying on track and that we're focusing on the right things as a company.
Yep.
Let's say if you are not staying on track, it's falling off the track, and there are some numbers not like matching the KPI on the scorecard. Like how deep do you go into solving that problem? Do you touch base with people at high level management and have them look into it? Or at what point will you look into it and try to figure out what's happening?
Sometimes, I'll be honest, this isn't that complicated of a business, right? Find property owners that want to sell their house fast, put them under contract, and either buy that property and flip it, buy it and hold it, or assign it. 90% of the time, we're just going to assign it. It's no risk. I don't have to worry about the emotions of the market and getting caught like a flip. And Arizona is not really a huge single family house rental market. We're more of an appreciation market, more of a capital gains market. And so if we're not hitting our goals, Helena, it's because somebody's dropping the ball somewhere.
Right.
And so we're just looking at what happened. Did we answer all the calls live? Did we respond to inbound leads within 30 seconds? Did we do our follow-up? Are there any past due follow-up that we have to catch up on?
Yeah.
Is my disposition manager on vacation and I had somebody else step in from the team and they didn't get as much, they didn't really know how to sell it as well, and that's why we didn't get as much on this deal than we usually do. So I've been in the business 20 years now, so I know where to look, what dials and knobs to turn and look at to understand how do we improve our income, right? How do we improve our processes to make sure that we're getting as many leads as possible into the hands of talented acquisition managers to then be able to sell. So, from that standpoint, it's a personnel thing. Very rarely is it a marketing. Once you get to the point where I'm at, where you're spending 6 figures a month on marketing, you're going to get leads, and you're going to get really good leads. It's just whether or not you can convert them. And is the competition going out there and promising the moon and stars, or is the competition going out there and they're saying, hey, listen, I can give you $300,000 for the property, when they know they can't buy it for anything more than $250,000, but they're just locking it up to try to beat up that seller? So do we have to have different conversations with the property owners out there to educate them on what's happening in the market? Those are the conversations we have.
Got it. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Because after 20 years, the business model, the process, the marketing has been proven over and over again. It's all about people. Are they actually executing what needs to be done, or they're not, right?
Well, people go on vacation. People take a day off.
Mental vacation, not like physical, mental vacation sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And so as a business leader, you have to be able to recognize that, and you have to be able to delegate to other people if people need a break.
Yeah. So
we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. Everybody in my business enjoys what they do. They enjoy their role. They want to be good. And that I think that's the most important thing. If you really want to talk about building a sustainable, predictable, long-lasting, awesome business, the people have to enjoy working there. They have to be winners. They have to enjoy winning because they hate losing. You know what I mean? They have to be competitive. They have to just have that fire in their belly to want to be the best at their specific role. And when they meet other people that are doing more than them, it fires them up.
That
Yeah.
healthy competition.
Yeah. And the healthy competition should be in your business.
Yeah.
People should be fighting for the leads and the opportunities. And they do. And that's been a huge, huge difference in our business. When I've hired some other people that are like, yeah, well, he can have the leads or she can have the leads or whatever else. It's like, what? Are you insane? Like, I would take everybody's lead. I would.
What's your favorite question to ask for a sales role?
For like an interview?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really get into too much like, here's the scenario, what would you do type of thing, because I think role playing is just kind of, I mean, it's good for reps, but it's not realistic, right?
Or how do you discern that kind of competitiveness, the fire up thing you're looking out for? How do you find out if a person truly has that?
I hire them or I don't, and I'm going to figure it out in the first 90 days.
That's true. Yeah.
Trial period.
Because I have been tricked by really great people that are amazing interviewers.
Yeah.
Amazing at they're hungry. They'll go 24/7, 365. They have these huge financial goals. They get the job, and I have a base salary plus commissions with sales with everybody. And they get the base, and then they don't perform. And you're like, what is happening? And then they're looking at other jobs, and they're doing some other job, and you're like, what? So
Yeah, that's great.
I don't know. I think that too much is done on personality tests. Too much is done on interview process. I think you bring people in, you train them, you put them out in the field. They sink or swim. That's it.
Yeah. So I think one more question I want to ask about sales, and then we can talk about rich dad thing, and then we can wrapping it up because it's coming closer to the end. So for sales management,
that part's going to get cut out too. So
we'll
have conversations with ourselves internally.
Yeah. So for sales manager, do you think it should be promoted internally, or should be can be hired outside? And do you think for sales manager is that a different kind of profile compared to salespeople? Because my understanding is for sales manager, they need to be more strict with the number, KPI, analytical, and holding people accountable. But maybe salespeople, they are a killer on the phone. They just want to go without managing other people. So what's your thought on that?
Yeah, left brain, right brain, guys. I mean, it's not difficult. Left brain is analytical, right is more creative. Sales guys need to be creative. Organization managers need to be left brained. They need to be systems. They need to be they need to analyze, be more analytical. That's what you're looking for. You do not want to put your best salesperson as a manager. Oh my gosh.
For sure. Heard that
and
many,
they don't
many
want
times.
to, because the manager's not going to make the highest paid person in the company besides the owner, hopefully, is the sales team, is the acquisition team. So why would anybody give that up?
Right. Especially if they love doing that.
To not have to run around as much or not have to be on the phone as much.
So it's not like the title, the manager get paid than salesperson for sure. The pay and the title doesn't really have.
I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, we're small businesses. The definition of a small business is 499 people. That's a small business. You have to have 499 people. At 500, you become a large business. So we're small business. What? I can make you the czar of acquisitions. I can make you the emperor of dispositions. I can make it whatever you want. I could make up any title that makes you feel good. The job's still the same. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares about titles around here. All they care about is good deals and getting checks.
So it sounds like you can never internally promote a sales manager from a salesperson. It have to be,
or an average salesperson could become a good manager. I
mean, you could have somebody that's a really good personality that you just put in the wrong role. They're not really great at sales, and transition them for sure. I mean, it could be they're still on the bus. They're just in the wrong seat at the moment. But
maybe
really
someone
people do not make them managers.
Right. Someone knows enough about sales, but it's more left brain, like
Yes.
naturally can be.
Yeah.
So they know enough to tell them what to do, what not to do, but also logical enough to analyze number, reverse engineer, etc.
Hmm. Probably
Yeah.
better at scenario trading than actually doing the thing
Right.
themselves.
Yeah,
And they have to take ownership of their role.
Right.
for
Right. They got to
sure.
take ownership. They build out the SOPs that works out if it's more efficient. They
Hmm.
evolve the business. And that's what
Mhm.
Jackie does for me. My COO. I mean, she's lead manager, COO, whatever you want to call her.
The
You know,
czar of
she
acquisitions.
replaced me from a lot of the day-to-day accountability. Now I get the accountability on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Hmm.
Mhm. Okay, John, go ahead.
Awesome. So, Brent, I've seen you wear a TTP shirt. I've seen you
Yes.
wear a Joe Homebuyer shirt. Now I
Yes.
see you wearing a Rich Dad shirt. So, do you
Yes.
want to tell everybody what's going on with Rich Dad and Mr. Brent Daniels?
Yeah, really interesting. So I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in 2000. I was given the book as a high school graduation present from my best friend's dad, and it set me on this path. It gave me the why, it gave me the what, but it doesn't give you the how, right?
Hmm.
And Rich Dad wants me to show people the how. So they brought me in, and I was able to be one of their experts. And so, Rich Dad is a brand that does a lot of things. They do crypto, they do entrepreneur, they do stocks, they do gold, they do everything. But I think the heart of Rich Dad is real estate. And so
Mhm.
it's a dream come true. It's absolutely bananas that I get to get in front of that audience with this brand and my message and go absolutely bananas. So the TTP is still in there. The Talk to People still in there. Joe Homebuyer, the Wholesaling Inc., the Rhino Tribe, it's all in there, right? It's all led me on this path to be able to work with Rich Dad for the time that I have. Could be a long time, it could be a short time. Who knows? But it's an incredible opportunity, one that I would never have expected in a bazillion years, especially when I had a 400 credit score and I had foreclosed on 5 houses and I had 2 cars repoed and I had a $740,000 judgment for that 9,000 square foot office space that I mentioned
Oh,
before. Never in my
Wow.
life would I have expected that. And the turnaround because of wholesaling, the turnaround because of real estate, the turnaround because of just believing in myself as an entrepreneur and never giving up has led me here. And I think it's the best and the most important brand in real estate investing. And I'm going to take that torch and I'm going to go bananas.
Love it.
yeah, they
Yeah.
definitely selected the right man for
Thank
the
you.
role. So, congratulations on
Yeah.
that. Was that ever one of your goals from like reading Rich Dad? Did you ever want to do anything with any affiliation of the Rich Dad company or like Robert Kiyosaki?
I didn't even know it was a possibility. You know what I mean? Like
Everything is possible.
I didn't know that it was. I didn't even know what the company was. I knew that it was a great brand, but I didn't know the ins and outs of the company, and I still don't. But I know it a little bit better now, and I've built some relationships with them. And I really think what helped was the CEO Kim Kiyosaki came to our Wholesaling Inc. event
Mm,
last April and
yeah.
spoke at the event, and I spoke to her behind the stage, and she was blown away by the community. She was blown away by the energy and the love and the respect that everybody had there. And so I think that gave me a leg up in this opportunity. So I got
Yeah,
to
that was a
thank the
great
whole
event.
Rhino Tribe and the whole Wholesaling Inc. Family for that, for sure.
So, what do you think the audience is for this coaching program, and what can they expect coming into it?
Yeah, I think people read the book and they're brand new and they don't know what to do and they're listless. They're floating out there like I was trying to figure out, okay, so do I flip properties? I know that I need to own assets, but how do I do that? I have no
Mm,
money. I have no experience. I don't even know what a deal is. So step number one, there's 3 steps to being an incredible real estate entrepreneur. Step number one, find deals. Step number two, raise funds. Step number three, property management. So I focus on number one, how to go out and find the best deals.
got it. Cool.
That's it by TTP, baby, right?
That's it.
TTP.
So, yeah, we're coming to the end of the podcast. We have a lot more questions for Brent, but there are 3 questions we ask every single guest of our podcast. So, the first one is, Like, what are some things you do consistently on a daily basis to make sure you have a good mindset to sharpen your mind?
Exercise for sure. You have to. I mean, that's just, you could read anything. You could read about all of the benefits of moving your body and what it does for your mind. It's just, that shouldn't even be an argument. So exercise is absolutely critical. Number two is I surround myself with people that are high energy. If they don't have high energy, then they just don't stay around. It's just, I almost repel them. My personality repels them. So high energy people that are super positive. And I think I don't actively do it enough. I think I just naturally have trained myself to do it, but just have an incredible amount of gratitude for the opportunity. The fact that we're even alive is crazy. The odds are incredible. The fact that this planet exists, the fact that we get a certain amount of time to experience this is wild if you really think about it. And so I don't want to waste it by being negative. I don't want to waste it thinking about or worrying about weird things. I just want to be super grateful for the people and the opportunity to breathe air and be able to experience this. So that's a long answer, but
Beautiful,
Love it.
beautiful thoughts. Beautiful thoughts create a beautiful life, right?
that's it.
So the next one is, what are you doing consistently to, keep up keep up to date with like education as far as like within this space, and also like personal like education that you want to learn on things?
Yeah, I've got 3 coaches at all times, typically, right? I've got the guys that built Fortune Builders are mentors for me now, which is absolutely incredible. They built that to $1 billion education company. So I get to work with them. I get to work with this guy, Ashley, out of Ireland, who's with the company 8-Figure Boardroom. And they specialize in building companies to 8 figures plus, which is a huge jump. You could stay, $1 million is a big jump, 2, 3, 4, 8, but 10, and keeping a good amount of that is a skill that I want to develop. And
Is
so,
that you think applies to all industries where that's more real estate focused?
any of it. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, obviously it depends on what your industry is. Manufacturing is different than real estate. You know what I mean? Retail's different than real estate. So, but yeah, that's a huge jump to be able to provide your business, your vision. All this business is like a goal and a vision that you had in your brain that you made up. You know what I mean? And to be able to provide 8 figures worth of value to the marketplace every year, that's wow. That blows
Bananas.
me away, right? And
Yeah.
so, and plus, and plus, and plus, and plus, but you just, you take it in steps.
What
So
is
I
the
always have coach, and then Tom Krol, of course, is
Tom,
always
yeah.
mentoring me and teaching me, and is in
the
my
last
life
one,
and
Tom
making leadership.
Krol? What is he coaching you on?
What's that?
The last coach, what is he coaching you on? What aspect?
Tom Krol,
Uh huh.
how to have a soul as a
Oh,
business
so that's like
person.
on the mindset stuff he's coaching you on.
Well, and it's also just, why are you doing this? Is it
Soul crawl.
ego, or is it you're trying to see how much potential you have for this? Is it you just want to do it because you want to do it? Like, what is, why are you doing this type of thing? And everybody's, oh, it's my family. My why is my family. Yeah, no bullshit. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course it is. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? That's
Right.
that's already in there. But why are you doing it?
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
that's a cool investigation
The question you ask
into your
yourself.
own mind. Yeah.
So the last question we ask is for people who are new or younger entrepreneur, they want to build something that is a standalone business. They are the actual business owner, not owned by their business. They want to scale it to a magnificent level. What are some advice you give for those people?
When you hire people, your income's going to go down for a while. So make sure that your lifestyle's set up. I would highly suggest, if you're going to build an asset like a business, stay very humble, with how much expenses you have and the liabilities you have and the exciting stuff you want to buy until you've got it coming in passively, until you've got until you've got a business that's really running, and not necessarily like put all your money into the business, but you're going to have to invest in marketing. You're going to have to invest in people. You're going to have to invest in systems. And so I don't want you making nothing as a business owner for a long time, but if you're a sales guy like I was, and you're living a lifestyle because you're making $300,000-$400,000 a year, and you're just kind of crazy. Your my financial IQ was kind of turbulent. I would get excited and just go buy stuff. Right? You got to watch that. You got to really, really, really build in the discipline to keep your lifestyle expenses low as you're building your business, but it'll pay off huge.
Yeah.
And then you can weather all the storms, and then you don't have to give up a bunch of cars and a bunch of houses and a bunch of office spaces, and then get, sued when you're 27 years old or whatever.
Oh my gosh. But that's so
and
good.
then start getting philosophical advice from a drug enthusiast.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. No,
Yeah.
that's one thing that I read. Like you should always be open to learning from anybody. Like remove your ego. Like anybody could teach you anything. A child could teach you something. A homeless person could teach you something. Somebody that is at a level above you. So never be judging. Always be open to learning from any avenue that you can.
That's the conversation I have with Bo, my youngest. Every day before school, I say, "What are you going to be?" And he said, "Kind, confident, and curious." And I think what you're talking about is that curious part.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're closed off to curiosity, once you think that you know everything, your ego is just out of control and you're about to lose it all.
And you stop learning.
You do. And so if you're kind and confident and curious, you could be an incredible business owner, incredible entrepreneur, do incredible things.
Incredible everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
But confidence is a tough one, right? That goes back to the subconscious. That goes back to what happened between the ages of 0 to 12. What's your financial thermostat? How confident are you that you have earned this, that you deserve this?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's a real big problem for a lot of people, especially if you're growing up in an environment where there wasn't a lot of income growing up. There wasn't a lot of resources. There wasn't a lot of encouragement growing up. There's a lot of self-work you have to do. And so you got to surround yourself all the time listening to podcasts like this, being in really incredible groups of people that are going out and building real businesses. You got to be obsessed with being an entrepreneur. If you're not, and you came from that background where you weren't just given everything, and your parents weren't just showering you with compliments and confidence, it's really tough to do if you're not completely surrounded by a positive environment.
Yeah, I mean that's your set point. Like if you're set there, unless you change it by feeling worthy and really doing the inner work, nothing's going to change. You're always going to, no matter how much money you make, you're always going to fall back to your set point. Just like the temperature in your living room will always fall back to wherever that thermostat's set at.
That's right.
Cool.
I love it.
Thank you so much, Brent, for... Oh, yeah. One last more thing. Yeah, go ahead, John.
I was going to say, so Brent, appreciate you coming on. Is there anything or any way that anybody could get in touch with you if they want to do deals with you, if they want to learn more from you? How do they get in touch with you in the community?
Yeah, we put a lot of love into our YouTube channel, so definitely check that out. Brent Daniels on YouTube. We've got the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, which is phenomenal. We go live with Wholesale Hotline on Mondays, which is a great time. And if you've got a deal here in Phoenix, Brent at wholesalinginc.com, Brent at wholesalinginc.com. Shoot me an email.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you so much, Brent, for coming up here, spending time with us. It's always a fun to chat with you and learn from you.
Thanks.
Always great to learn from Mr. TTP, the biggest biceps in real estate, baby.
Come on.
Let's go. Cool. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next episode.
Take care.
Bye.